Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you for that beautiful, loving introduction, Angie. I am so fortunate that I found you all, was led here, and that you kind of kicked me in the butt to get going. Come on, let's do it. Let's do this. I'm like, whoa, am I ready? David's like, let's do it next week. Let's just get started. Just pick a date and go. I'm like, okay. And that's the beauty of what you do here. You get it going, get the wheel going. Today's topic is abundance. Abundance. Let's do the abundance. Giving and receiving the same. When I was offered to speak on this topic, I was like, oh, what? What? I could go this way, go get this. And I have to give thanks. I have to give thanks for giving this talk because I have received so much already just by focusing on this topic. It's everywhere. It's like it is life, this giving and receiving. So I want to give thanks to you all for giving me this opportunity to give. And I received first, which is an interesting part of this wheel of giving and receiving. First of all, abundance. I looked it up. I was like, well, what is it? What's the definition, right? Having more than you need. Having more than you need. Feel that. It's the opposite of scarcity. So it would be important to know what we need, what our needs are, right? Giving and receiving are two polarities of the wheel of abundance. It's like riding a bike. You have your right pedal, left pedal, and you pedal, and giving, receiving, giving. They go together. They're not separate. They're part of that. And as we give and receive, we allow both polarities to occur. The bike gets to move forward. That wheel gets to turn. The energies of life create more life. So it depends on also when we're in the act of giving or receiving. We've all done that. It depends on our state of mind and our hearts. The quality of the giving and receiving affects whether it's an abundance wheel. Because you can give and receive or kink the hose on receiving or giving, and suddenly you're lopsided, like in the bike. If you're only pedaling with one leg, that leg is going to get tired, or the other one is going to get tired. The receiving one is like, which leg are you out of balance with? You can think about this. But the good news is the other pedal's always there. So if you understand this law of abundance, this giving and receiving, you just start balancing that other part. Is it hard for you to give, or is it hard for you to receive, or a little bit of both? The other thing is, it's a wheel of energy ignited by action. We have to act. It's active. So it's like, if we get stuck in the concept, it sounds nice, but I'm part Cherokee, and our native traditions are, we ask about teachings, we say, well, that sounds nice, but does it grow corn? Does it feed us? Is it applicable to life? Does it have life-giving properties? Like, oh, that's really good, because there's so much going on around us that, sounds pretty and all that, and we go home and go, what? How do I apply that to my life? So how do we apply this? And like with, does it grow corn? You have the giving and receiving law of increase. In that, one kernel of corn has the potential of 1,000-fold more. That's a lot of receiving back, but it requires what?
Action.
Action, yes. Which is the giving part. It's the action. You have to plant it, nurture it, give to it in order to receive. And then you need to receive the harvest in order to perpetuate the next giving cycle, right? But this is an abundance wheel, isn't it? This principle of the corn. Well, let's make this tangible. So we all have bodies here, except the ones that don't have bodies that are sitting in other chairs. We all experienced initially what started our life as the first act of this giving and receiving. our first breath of life. Our first breath. So inhale and exhale is giving and receiving. You can't have one without the other, or your life's not going to be in this body, right? So the first breath that we took was an inhale. That's the first breath we all did, or you would not be here. And then after that comes the exhale, right? But we couldn't exhale, we couldn't give until we received. We had to receive that air before we could then exhale. And it wasn't very big, that first one. It was little tiny lungs that didn't know how to breathe. And we had to breathe in again, give, receive, inhale, exhale. The breath of life wheel. There's the wheel. And as we breathed in and out, the lungs got stronger. The body got bigger. We got better at breathing. The wheel of abundance occurred, didn't it? Until we became teenagers and stopped breathing. We get scared and we go, we hold our breath. Oh no, a girl. Oh no, a guy. We just stop breathing, right? And we have to learn it all over again. Which is part of the starfire breath. This is exactly, thank you for letting me introduce that a minute ago. The starfire breath is about the wheel of breathing. It's getting people back into that trusting, that initial inhale that we did at birth. Like, was your birth traumatic? Did you have trouble breathing that first breath? Did you have, trouble umbilical cord around you, or the birth canal was tough, you got stuck there, so that first breath was a little traumatic. So maybe that pattern could be continuing in your life. Is it hard to inhale, or is it hard to trust your exhale, the giving part, because you're not sure if that next breath's going to be there? So you can look at your life and say, is that evident in my finances, in my relationships? Am I not quite trusting, exhaling, or giving my all because I'm not sure it's going to come back? So the starfire breath also helps that, because it gets you back in touch with that. Breathing deeply, follows by the exhale, follows by the inhale, giving and receiving, giving and receiving. Now you have the wheel going, right? The wheel of life, giving, receiving. They go together if you don't block it. And there's also a wheel of energy that occurs. So when you're breathing a little more deeply than you need, more than you need, do you remember that statement? So if you're breathing in and out a little more deeply than you need, do you think you might be creating abundance? You definitely, if you've done the starfire breath, you definitely know you're creating abundant energy. You definitely know that. Abundance space in your body, because you're giving forth old energy. Instead of holding on to it, you're in the act of trusting that if you give whatever is necessary, it fills up again. That breath is there. Or the new energy comes in when you let go of the old energy, and it goes right down. And then it's not so much the in and out anymore. It's just this wheel of fire, and you're just in it. And then it's not so much the polarity of the giving and the receiving anymore. It's just like, it's all good. It's just all good. Let it flow. The next part of the giving, and again, this was such a fun journey for me to really dig down deep and look and explore in my own life. The giving and receiving, it's got a lot of stuff for me I'm still working through. Like, the receiving part is a little tricky for me, and I discovered that my mother, when I was young, would give things to my brothers and I with strings attached. They were invisible though, but boy, when we got that cool thing, there was a yank there. Like, wait a minute, what's going on here? Can't I just have that? No, you got to behave. You got to do this. You got to look good, because people will think about, like, wait a minute. And then the receiving got a little like, my brothers and I were like, we're not so sure we want those things anymore. So we had to relearn the quality of giving and the quality of receiving. So I went to, my brothers and I, being Native American, we were invited to a Sundance, a very sacred ceremony of the Blackfeet and the Lakotas. And there's a lot of giving. There's so much giving. It completely rewired my sense of giving and receiving. That we went and we did these sacred giveaways, which were dancing for 3 days with no water or food, in deep prayer as a tribe, as people. I even invited white people. They opened it up to white people, which my husband was very white. He was like one of the 3 white men in the whole place. And they opened it up, and there was a lot of like giving away the comforts of drinking and eating while we were dancing. Everybody was giving, constantly giving. And I noticed that we give medicine gifts to each other when we'd learn something from each other. We'd give tobacco or sage or the shirt off our back sometimes. And there was so much giving going on that I had given away everything I brought, plus things I didn't think I would give. My husband gave away like his nice gloves to the Indians that really needed it, and we were all having so much fun giving. But we ended up with more than we came with. We were trying to, because we were participating, everybody was giving. We came home with like stuffed duffel bags. Like, how did that happen? And it's because we were having so much fun sharing energy that broke that experience I had with my mother, and it opened up this whole new thing. So, the other piece of the giving is forgiving. A very, very big topic lately, and I'm sure it'll get bigger and bigger. It's so big. Forgiving. So forgiving is the act of giving forth something that's old, that's hurting you. Might even be hurting the person you're holding maybe a grudge against, but it's really hurting you. So when you give forth, or you forgive someone, you're really giving forth to yourself. This is the giving, receiving, same thing. So there was someone who shared a story at our discussion group Wednesday. We were doing the act of forgiveness. And she said, wow, I had this experience where I moved into this apartment, second story, and the apartment was really great until this guy moved in downstairs, and he was a chain smoker. He smoked like a chimney, and the smoke was coming up through all the vents, and I was chemically sensitive. I was so angry. Like every day I just reeked of smoke. It was in the bathroom. And one day she realized, I don't think I can do anything about it, and it hurts to be angry and annoyed all the time, so I'm going to forgive him. So she mentally said, she didn't say it to him in person, she never talked to him, I forgive you for smoking. I forgive you. And she released it, and she felt better for it. Well, a few days later, she was out in the parking lot. Again, she never talked to this guy. There's the guy. And he comes up to her and says, I just thought you might like to know, I quit smoking. And she was shocked. She was shocked. She said in a few days, she said, did I have anything to do with that? She said, yeah, it's all connected. Not only did she help herself without any attachment to what he did, she forgave him, right? He made a healthy choice. So there's a lot of power in forgiveness. The last thing I want to share and close this talk with is something in the Metaphysical Principles course that Reverend David Miller is teaching that I'm really enjoying. It happens to be about prosperity right now. It's really cool. And he said, in here it says, the wheel of fortune, there's the wheel again, right? The wheel of fortune helps impress the subconscious mind strongly and quickly. Because prosperity is happiness, health, and wealth. And the great symbol for this is the wheel of fortune. So there it is, the wheel again. So I happen to have gone to my tarot deck, and I actually picked that card. Can you see what it is?
It's the wheel of fortune.
The wheel of fortune. The wheel of fortune. And I'm sharing that with you all today. To close this talk, I'm going to say, I prosper you, and I prosper myself. And so it is. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you, Luma, for that talk.